Alright, let's start up again after we've been settled in with the incubi boys and gotten a call from Suzu and Naomi. Hello?
Hey, good morning! Guess who's at your door right now?
Right on cue, there was a knock from the lobby door. My heart stopped. Suzu and Naomi were here.
I'll get it!
My heart quickly began to pound in my chest. Matthew was in the lobby and he'd get to the door first. I instantly jumped out of my chair and rushed out of the dining room. As I passed through the archway between the dining room and lobby, I saw Matthew reach his hand for the brass door handle, causing the world to go into slow motion. Matthew, don't! But before my words could reach his ears, Matthew had opened the door and revealed the surprised faces of Naomi and Suzu. The world around me stopped as Suzu and Naomi kept their eyes on Matthew, who merely stared back in fear and embarrassment. I could feel the air go from warm to freezing in a matter of seconds.
Hi?
I could not believe this was happening. How was I going to explain this? This week was already bad enough. To make matters worse, I was frozen in place. Please, for God's sake, someone do something other than stand there.
Who are you?
Suzu, let me explain.
What's going on here?
Who's at the door, Matthew? Oh.
Soon the other incubi appeared in the lobby with us. The situation was not getting pretty. I had to think fast. They're in your head. Suzu reached out and poked Matthew on the forehead, making him stare cross-eyed at her finger.
Hello to you too?
Seems real to me. They're not imaginary.
It was no use. There was no time to lie to them. I felt helpless. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder and felt the tension in my body almost fade away. I turned my head to see James smile at me before stepping in front of me.
We must apologize, ladies. We know the situation must be confusing for everyone. Let's take this to the dining room and we'll explain everything.
I stared at James, wide-eyed. Was he going to tell them who they were? Everything seemed surreal. Before I knew it, I was led to the dining room along with Suzu and Naomi and sat across from their confused gazes. As Naomi and Suzu sat down, Eric and Matthew placed their untouched plates of food in front of them, surprising their guests.
Whoa, this looks amazing! Thank you!
Our pleasure, ladies. We hope you enjoy your meals.
Make sure you dig in!
I looked at Naomi and Suzu as they began to eat, visibly enjoying every bite they placed in their mouth. Hopefully the food would ease their minds for whatever James wanted to reveal. As Naomi and Suzu ate their impromptu meals, James and the other boys stood behind my chair, making me grow more red in the face.
So, Anderson, are you gonna tell us what's going on?
Well, you see, Gently, James placed a hand on my shoulder again, signaling me to just eat my food. As I began to eat, he spoke to Naomi and Suzu.
We are Miss Anderson's house servants. We were hired by her late grandfather to help around the mansion, but since he has passed, we now assist Miss Anderson with living on her own.
That makes sense. It's such a huge house.
A huge house for a wonderful princess such as Miss Anderson deserves the greatest of servants to care for it.
But why are you all dressed so casually and stuff? Aren't servants supposed to have uniforms or whatever?
Well, Miss Anderson allows us to get comfy while we work, so she lets us wear casual clothes.
Yeah, something like that.
We're sorry if we made the situation awkward earlier.
We're very sure that Miss Anderson is also still getting used to having us as her servants. It would be very hard to explain after just a day.
I guess.
So, if I may ask, what brings you two ladies here?
Well, we wanted to see how our friend was doing. Since it's the weekend and all, usually we hang out and just chill.
Which we can do this time.
Yeah, like going to the arcade and stuff.
I'm so excited.
Or the Pink Lady Cafe.
There's an arcade?
That makes a lot of sense, ladies. Well, we don't wish to disturb you any further than we have, so we'll take our leave and start preparing the house.
Huh? Preparing for what?
We gotta prep the house for some sort of housewarming party thing.
Our princess's parents requested a housewarming party to be held here soon.
And by soon, they mean tonight.
Oh, well, I guess we can help out or something. Right, Naomi?
I thought you wanted to go to the arcade.
This housewarming thing is more important.
No need. We can handle it. If you'd like to, miss, you can go out with your friends while we handle things here.
Seriously?
Sam, not now.
Well, I wanted to help out, but at the same time I wanted to go out with my friends. James gave me a look of understanding, letting me know that if I left, everything would be okay. I had to make a decision. I'll go out with Suzu and Naomi.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I trust these guys to be able to work everything out.
Thank you for trusting us, miss.
Yes.
We'll have everything done for you by the time you return home.
Aw, thanks, Eric.
All right, we'll wait here while you go get your things.
I was strangely relieved to know that everything was going to be okay while I was gone from the house. I trusted the guys enough to do everything they could for this house party, so my mind focused itself on hanging out with my friends. Eventually, I was out the door, walking towards Naomi's car with Naomi and Suzu. Suzu grabbed the entire back seat as I took the passenger's side. Naomi started the car and drove off towards the city. It was nice driving out with my friends. After all that had happened, it was good to just go out and forget my troubles.
Well, since we got you out of the house, we might as well go to the mall and walk around a bit. We did just eat breakfast after all.
Yeah, that was a good meal, though.
Could have had more flavor, in my opinion.
Wow, Suzu.
Suzu, you eat chili peppers when you're bored. Everything you eat always needs more flavor.
You need to teach me, Suzu.
You just need to eat spicy food all the time. You gotta tame your mouth.
Tame your mouth? Really, Suzu?
It's true, you build up a tolerance over time. I'm with you, girl. Sounds difficult.
Anyways, after the mall, what do you want to do? We could go to the Pink Lady Cafe and chill out with Kay. I'm sure she'd love the company.
Yeah, I still haven't actually seen what Kay looks like.
But we have to stop by the arcade. They have this new game out called Orion. You get to control this guy named Isaku, and you're part of the rebel forces, and you get to shoot things, and there's robots, and...
Sheesh, we get it, Suzu, we get it. We'll go to the arcade.
Hey. Which one first, though? You know how popular Kay is. She'll be swamped with customers later in the day.
I'd rather go in the late afternoon. She has better options during the last hour of the cafe.
So basically after the arcade?
You figured me out so quickly, Patterson.
What did I tell you about using my last name?
It's nice to spend time with the girls. Well, let's go to the arcade. Ooh, new plays. Is that froggish? So we headed to the mall and walked around for a good amount of time before driving out to Moonfall Arcade. As weird as the name sounded, the arcade was one of the best arcades in the city. Kids and teenagers lined the games, watching the players at the consoles as they anxiously waited to have their turn.
Oh, there it is! There it is!
Suzu grabbed Naomi and me by the hands before dragging us to a section of the arcade where a bunch of kids had gathered in awe and excitement. In the middle of the crowd was a large game with 2 joystick platforms and a screen that flashed the name Orion every other second. In the background of the screen, a holographic playfield glimmered before us, revealing a neo-futuristic battlefield and an enemy robot charging right at the camera.
This is the game you were excited about?
It looks really cool.
That's right! And I'm gonna play it so hard I'll beat the game in one shot.
That would be amazing. Suzu smirked and looked at me, hoping that I would join her as I usually did for partner games. I looked at Naomi, who merely rolled her eyes, crossed her arms, and gave me the okay nod. I grinned before nodding to Suzu, who cheered in joy.
Woohoo! Alright, let's do this.
Alright, first CG of our girl. It took us a good half hour before we were able to step up to the platforms. The point of the game was to beat the government and restore freedom to the general public. We played as rebels and a robot, and the game quickly became a smash and bash game versus multiple enemy robots. Playing with Suzu was always an adventure. We both knew what our strengths and weaknesses were, so it was easy to collaborate with each other. It wasn't long before we got into the swing of the game and were beating enemies like crazy. By the time we got to the boss, we were unstoppable. It was so refreshing to beat the boss and put our 3-letter code names into the high score list.
And that is how you game. We are unstoppable, Anderson.
Man, you guys are awesome. Suzu gave me a large smile, which made me smile back. I was happy to be able to hang out and have fun with my friends like this. I felt free from worries or responsibilities. It was something I loved. We eventually lost track of the time and wound up staying longer than we expected, making us unable to stop at the cafe before going home to dress for the housewarming party. So we drove back. Naomi and Suzu picked up clothes and other necessities from their houses before driving back to the mansion. The hour of the house party had arrived. In my mind, I kept double and triple checking the essentials for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and the executives of the Anderson Company to show me off. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my form as a million thoughts ran through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubi to thank, but even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through living alone. A knock on my door broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
All right. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched as Naomi's and Suzu's faces turned from smiles to complete awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot.
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while. I just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom, all dressed to the nines as proper servants.
Whoa! They really know how to dress well, don't they?
Yeah. I was slightly taken aback on how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman, even Sam. I slowly began to climb down the steps with Suzu and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircase one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flush, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. I guess we could probably skip ahead. Through all the dialogue, anyway. I don't think I can ever skip through Malick's, though. Malick's is so entertaining to listen to. Am I ready? Yes. I'm ready. I had to be confident. This is different. I had to be confident in my skills. My dad expected a lot out of me already. If I faltered at this party, who knows what he would think of me. I had to assure myself in every word that came out of my mouth that I was ready. Have I never picked that option before? Strange. Pretty good.
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really hit all of us hard.
Thank you.
Do you have college plans?
That's a possibility. Don't lag on me, game.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
That depends on who runs it.
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
Reflects
Do
my
you
own
think the
values.
company should expand from just toys?
It's a possibility. Okay. Then we run into Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome. Praise.
And then I'm gonna stay put.
A little.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for Suzu. Okay, so yeah. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad suddenly walked over and placed a hand on my shoulder with a smile. I stared up at him, a wave of confusion washing over my face. What?
You did good tonight. I'm proud.
Oh. Thank you, Dad.
Keep it up, and you'll be a good CEO.
Oh, right.
All right. Your mother and I have to leave. I'm sure Naomi and Suzu need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you should stay up all night.
Oh, right.
Thanks for having us. It was a great party.
We'll come visit tomorrow or something. All right?
Sounds good, girls. Right. See ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us soon.
Will do. All 4 of my remaining guests left the building, all but my dad, waving back to me. With the last of the guests gone, I sighed and sat on the staircase exhausted. Phew. That was tiring.
It's not like you had to do any work, though.
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
She handled herself the best she could.
As expected, Princess.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
Ugh.
Hush, Sam.
Are you guys sure?
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find you little shits after all.
Malick! I'm really curious. Like, is he still gonna bother abducting us? And if so, can we actually fight him? I felt a hot shudder run down my spine. The voice from my dreams echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked, alongside the incubi. James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
Don't worry. No one will hurt you.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
All of us shot our heads towards the door, finally pinning down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would have never expected to see. Skin red as blood, eyes black and gold piercing into mine, roughened up clothes, and a pistol in his hand. I saw a monster. I covered my mouth to not scream at the sight. Dried blood covered the bandana around his neck as he smirked at me and the boys around me. Beside the red-skinned man was a similar-looking woman in matching thug-like clothes.
Aw, what's the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you piece of...
All of a sudden, the man raised his gun at Sam's face and instantly pulled the trigger. We all gasped in shock, instinctively expecting to see a bullet run through Sam's face. But...
What the fuck?
What?
What should have been a headshot ended with a loud but empty blank shot. The pistol echoed its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over in aggravation. Luckily for my ears, it became quieter after its first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, Shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Ah!
The man growled and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple of times before sliding further away, hitting the wall in a final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into black flame that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Malick.
Malick, that was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had. However, I looked to Matthew in the same confusion as Malick did. This place is protected by... magic?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protective barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malick's face grew to that of extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
Then what's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malick and the boys. With no power, Malick wasn't going to fight. I took that chance to stand up to him instead of being powerless like I was in the dream. Get out of my house. Malick growled at me, walking right up to me and leaning close to my face. I glared back, feeling my courage skyrocket.
Since when does a little stain like you give orders to a guy who can rip your pretty little head from your body?
You really don't think, do you? If you kill me, you'd be hunted down by more than just the police.
You little...
I can't? Okay, so it's only the ducking that changes anything. The other three, he just grabs you by the hair. All of a sudden, I felt a hand grip my hair and pull it back, forcing me to cry out and stare up at Malick. His eyes bored into mine as he cackled in my face.
Hey! Let her go!
Sam! Eric!
Within mere seconds, Sam had punched Malick square in the jaw, forcing him to let my hair go. As I fumbled back, Eric caught me in his arms, gently pulling me away from Malick and back in their group.
Come on, Sam. You and me. Right here. Let's go!
Come on, asswipe!
However, before both could fight, the woman stepped forward and placed a firm grip on Malick's shoulder.
That's enough, Malick.
What? Who do you think you're speaking to, woman?
The girl who's going to help you kill them. Just not now.
Not now?
I stared as the girl spoke down at Malick's. She looked the same, just like pure evil. However, she seemed to be concerned for Malick's. Or for me.
There's 5 of them and 2 of us. Even if we come back with the gang, they can have the place surrounded by human police.
Then we shoot everyone!
Think! If we shoot everyone, we'll be hunted. And it'll be a matter of time before makeshift paladins come and try to exorcise us.
The two growled at each other. If they could have used their magic, I could sense that fire would glow from under their teeth. Malick grunted and glared at the boys. He pointed at James wanting so badly to use his fingers like a knife.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
That laugh. Then Malick turned to me, moving his finger to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step outside. I dare you.
Okay, I guess that answers one of my questions. With that, Malick and the woman walked out of the mansion. The doors closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. Alright, and on that note, we'll skip ahead again. Oh, you know what? Wait. I forgot about the dream. Let's get some sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes, after we have this, dream about the future? Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever. You're so important to me.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side, always.
I can't imagine living without you.
I want to be with you.
I love you.
Okay. So now, let's explore the house. It's always good to have this on our side, I think. I won't disturb you guys today. And pizza. And I'll go to my room and eat this time. I decided against bothering them. They knew where the food was, so I went to my room instead and ate alone in my room. It's not my problem if they all need energy or whatever. I turned on my computer and started to jam to music as I ate my food. As I ate, I began to think about going out. There were so many places to go, things to do. Oh, grandfather's grave. Interesting. The arcade. Probably a good guess as to where Suzu may be. I arrived at the arcade, ready to spend some cash on some fun games. I didn't want to be stuck at home on a Sunday. Besides, the arcade always had something new to play, no matter how often you came. I began to wander the aisles of machines, scanning over them to find a good game to play. I had played a lot of the games already with Suzu, so it was just a matter of finding a good one. What finally caught my attention was a crowd of people surrounding a group of machines. I got closer and peeked through the crowd to see Suzu sitting in a racing game versus 2 other players who were on the same machine behind Suzu's. From the looks of it, Suzu was losing, and that was causing her angered face.
You're going down!
Jerks.
Kiss my Italian ass!
Oh my goodness, girl. I stifled a giggle watching Suzu remain playful under stress. She was adorable, but feisty. Truly a spicy Italian. I observed as Suzu finally caught up to her opponents and passed them with ease.
What the? Hurry it up!
A jerk and a moron, oh my goodness.
Later, losers!
The crowd began to cheer, watching Suzu beat out the guys and slide into first place. As the lights and sounds began to blare in celebration, the 2 jerks left the machine in a huff and Suzu stood up.
Good game, everyone.
Slowly, the crowd began to disperse, leaving me standing to applaud for Suzu alone. Suzu smiled as she finally saw me, walking over to me.
Hey, what brings you here?
I didn't want to be stuck at home, so I came here. I needed to have some fun after yesterday.
Yeah, man, I get you. Yesterday was full of tightwad business guys, and me and Naomi were pretty uncomfortable too.
Really? I'm really sorry about that. Suzu laughed and waved her hand in dismissal of it. She then leaned against the racing game and put her hands in her pockets.
So what do you plan on doing here?
Let's play a game together.
Oh, really? What game do you think you could beat me at?
I think we can do some major damage and beat our high scores in robot extermination. Suzu grinned from ear to ear, nodding before taking my hand and heading over to the machine in question. It was cute to see Suzu like this. She was always the adventurous type, and I loved that side of her beyond anything. I guess that's what kept our friendship strong for so long. Eventually, we did reach a large machine covered with images of robots disguised as animal mascots and blood. We took up our plastic guns and swiped our game cards across the credit slot, giving our credits to the game to play.
You take left, I take right?
As usual, let's go. The game quickly started up and we blasted our way through hordes of robots, landing more headshots than professional shooter tournament players. Oh, really no. Suzu and I had played this game so often it pretty much had become our go-to high-score game. We always kept the top 5 spots on the leaderboard for ourselves. As we finished the first level, though, we were stunned to see the new leaderboard at the loading screen.
Someone took number 1?
Matthew? Oh, hell no!
We maxed that level, right?
Mm-hmm. So cute. Suzu looked at me with a very familiar, deadly look in her eyes. She was determined to regain number 1. So was I. I knew what this meant. No deaths, quick reloads, and consistent headshots and Easter egg points. The whole experience itself ran 2 hours straight, with the main game and its sequel programmed into the machine. Once you finished one, you immediately began the next until you reached the end of the second game. At least it had some cutscenes to take breaks between. It'll be tough, but we got this. Suzu nodded before putting her game card in the breast pocket of her jacket and readying herself for the next level. I braced myself for a long game.
Hey Anderson, let's make this a little more fun. Whoever has the least amount of headshots has to treat the other to lunch.
It's almost 2 p.m., Suzu.
There's such a thing as late lunch.
Yeah, I sometimes don't have lunch till 3. Alright, you're on.
Second level. Start.
That was terrifying. And we were off! Virtual bullets began to fly across the screen, slamming into the heads of multiple robots and causing them to fall to the floor and die out. One by one, Suzu and I burned through the game like our lives depended on it. We eventually had a crowd form behind us, cheering us on and offering us food so that we wouldn't have to leave the machine. Most of them were guys who liked the girl-on-gun action, but some of them were actually excited bystanders, hoping that we would take back our high score. We snacked a bit, taking breaks between cutscenes and level changes, but we remained true to our goal. Eventually, we made it to the final boss, a giant black bear robot with red eyes and deadly attacks.
Let's go, Anderson!
Right behind you! The crowd behind us began to cheer as we began our final battle. Our legs were a little wobbly, but we were too into the game to care. All we cared about was the large red bar at the top of the screen slowly emptying with each bullet we fired into the boss's body. We only had a few shots left when someone called out,
"You girls suck!"
Oh yeah? Without missing a shot, Suzu and I replied at once. You wish we did! Before landing the final blow to our opponent, the death cutscene... Oh, so we yelled that, okay. The death cutscene flashed and played on the screen, the scream of the robot bear booming through the speakers. Suzu and I weren't excited just yet. We were waiting for the high score screen to appear. It was the final high score screen of the entire game, so it was the most important screen in our eyes. Come on. Come on.
New high score.
Yes. The screen popped up revealing our code SCA as the number 1 score in the game, knocking down our mysterious Mal opponent to second place. Malick? Do you think? The crowd behind us went ballistic as Suzu and I hugged each other tightly in joy. It was like stepping over a major milestone despite it only being an arcade game. We did it! Woohoo! The second stat screen came up, separating Suzu and I from our hug of delight. In matters of accuracy, I was better. However, Suzu had more kills and headshots, making her the winner of our little bet.
Booyah! Free lunch!
Alright. Where to, boss?
I just want some drive-thru food. I've been eating way too many home-cooked meals, man. I need at least one unhealthy meal.
This girl gets me so much, though. Suzu's family was indeed an Italian family, but they were very self-conscious about their food. They were quite possibly the healthiest family I knew.